Hello everyone, this is Allegedly Caleb, and we are back with another Wargame Design Studios Game of the Week. This week, it is Panzer Campaigns, Kiev 43. You can currently get this amazing, great game on sale for 25% off on their website. I highly recommend all of these Panzer Campaign games. They're all games that have hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of value in them. And these are your top tier war games. If you like games like Hearts of Iron 4, if you like games like, what else? War in the East 2, those types of war games, or if you come from a board game background like GMT, Ardennes 44, even something like Paths of Glory, you could get that related to these games. So let's take a look at what these games are, or what this game is specifically. If you like this type of gameplay, definitely take a look at my other videos on the channel, because I have videos that showcase the way these games play. Really, we're going to be taking a look at the maps, the units, the game mechanics, and what Kiev 43 has to offer. So we're going to go to the very largest campaign. So first, I do want to say, if you're new here and you don't recognize WDS games, these dates are all scenarios. So the way these work is you have your number, which is 43. That's the game. And then you've got the date. So 11/12. Actually, that's today as of the day I'm recording this. November 12th. And then the scenario name. So that's kind of what these numbers mean. Now let's go to the major campaign. So the main campaign is Kiev November Operations. Actually, there's a couple different campaigns. You've got the Kiev November Operations, which is the entire November campaign for Kiev, beginning with the massive Russian attack on the Ukrainian capital, November 3rd, followed by the German counterattack. So let's take a look. Normally, there is fog of war when you play. You can turn that off, obviously, as you can see here. But we're about to see a lot of counters. So this is the gameplay style. This is the graphic style of this game. You've got your NATO counters, and then if you zoom in, you've got more of a old-fashioned 3D view. And WDS actually announced an update to their 3D graphics, because I will admit they are a little bit old-timey, but I love this game view. This game view is beautiful. And when you click on a unit, it's got a nice little unit card right here. The number is how many men are in it. You got movement points, you've got the morale level, and you've got their fatigue, which they gain fatigue as they fight and lose men. And then you've got all your typical hex encounter hexes for different terrain types. Now we've got the Soviets up here. Let's take a look at, actually there's some different colored units over here. What are these? Oh, you got Czechs. Oh, that's cool. You've got some Czechs over here in the main assault. These ones, this like brownish color are Soviets, reddish color are Soviet guards. These blue colors are Germans. And as we take a look up, here's the map. So red is German, blue is Soviet. The little yellow dots are victory points. So the way that you win one of these games, you have all of these victory points on the map, and each unit is worth a certain amount of victory points. And here we are. So for the Russians to win, they would need to get a minor victory, they need to get 10,000 points. They start out with 0. So that's your base mark. For them to lose a minor defeat, they have to only have 8,000 points by the game end. So that's how you calculate points. And we're going to take a look along this front. Now for a WDS game, the amount of counters here is not actually that horrible. Now take a game like Poland 39 or France 40 or even Kursk 43, and you're going to have way more counters. Anyway, here's another color right here. This gray color signifies the infamous SS units. So this one particularly is the Das Reich. At this point, it was SS Panzer Division. So they're going to have a whole bunch of pretty rare vehicles. At this point in the war, the SS Panzer divisions always received the best equipment that the German army had available, including Tigers, as you can see here. Now, you can also see that the German units are all very depleted, or at least maybe not their infantry, but their tank units are. The reason for that is because at this point in the war, this takes place after the Soviets absolutely demolished the German lines after the Battle of the German offensive at Kursk. The German offensive at Kursk broke the Germans, destroyed their armor, and then after that, the Soviets launched a massive counterattack across nearly the whole front. And it pushed the Germans back to this line, the Dnieper. And then the Germans were hoping to hold it, but unfortunately for them, the Soviets were not done for the year. So then they had a couple of footholds across the river, and you can see they absolutely packed them with forces. So as the Germans, you're taking the role of, I forget what German commander was known to have had this really, really militarily beautiful maneuver where he was able to essentially save the German army from getting destroyed and pull his forces back to another defensive line through the use of counterattacks and really well-timed fallbacks. So as the German player, you're trying to recreate that. As a Soviet player, all you're really trying to do is break through the German lines and using your armored units to pretty much get up into your opponent's rear as much as you can. Try to destroy his armored units. But the German player will be getting very high quality reinforcements throughout this game. So that's the overall scenario. There's plenty of other scenarios as well. First, you have a bunch of different versions of these different scenarios. For example, you have your normal scenario for the Kiev November operations. Then you have a scenario where, for example, the Russian 1st Guard Cavalry Corps will support the 60th Army in its assault on the northern flank of the German lines. The German 3rd Panzer Division will not be withdrawn during the evening of 21st September. Or November. So that's one example. Here's a bunch more. Another one, the Germans get the 2nd Fallschirmjägers and get the 4th Panzer Division. Another one, 2nd and 4th arrive north of this city to reinforce that front. 3rd Panzer Division's not withdrawn. So you get the idea. There's a bunch of different versions with what would happen if so-and-so happened. Then you've got the next big campaign, the December operations. Now, I wish these were combined. Actually, that's not quite true. It's not quite true that is the next campaign. The next campaign is the Russian high tide scenario. This is essentially the high tide of the Russian offensive before the Germans counterattacked. So here we are. You can see Kiev. Way back, Germans are just barely holding their lines together. But the Germans are ready to counterattack pretty soon because they are starting to bring in reinforcements. So let's take a look at some of the units that are around here. Got some tanks. Panzer IIIs, low on ammo. Oh yeah, look at these guys. The 340th Infantry Division just arrived. Who's over here? Hard to tell. Soviets are all still in travel mode, so any damage the Germans can do against them will be a lot. And it is still nighttime. It's still 4 a.m. at this point. You got some Martyrs. I think these are Martyr 3s, yeah. Some Panzer 3Ms. I might have mentioned those already. This is the 8th Panzer Division, by the way. Not doing too hot. Got some Stugs and more Martyr 3s. Over here, more Martyrs. I guess there were a lot of Martyrs at this point in the war. Who's this? 20th Panzer Grenadier Division. Ooh, they have a lot of fatigue. Oh, then you got... Who is this? LSSAH. It's the Panzer Division. They've got a Soviet unit surrounded. So I'm guessing their goal is to destroy those guys before the rest of the Soviets get to them. What's this? Oh, interesting. Got some T-34s. And then, who's this? 68th Panzer Division, 7th Panzer Division. Interesting. Okay, now over here you've got more Panzers. The 25th Panzer Division. Oh yeah, these guys weren't very well trained. That's why their morale level is C. They had an... Oh, they got some Tigers. Oh, it's part of the 509th Heavy Panzer Battalion. Anyway, got those guys there. Here's more SS troops. Das Reich. Interesting. I mean, you also have your Soviets, obviously. More infantry. That almost looks like the Danish flag. Wonder if they had volunteer Danes. Anyway, so that's that scenario. And then you got some more guys coming in from LSSAH. Any others? None that I can see. So as you can see, that is quite a different scenario from that first one. It's more of a meeting engagement instead of a attack and defend. All right, and then you've got December operations. So these are essentially, I believe this happened after the German counterattack. Let's take a look. Oh, dang. That's a big map. Okay, this is way bigger than... Actually, it might be the same size. Anyway, you got December operations. A lot of units are dug in after that original fighting. But now there are a bunch of German units coming on in. Yeah, but you can also see, like I said, that most units have at least improved positions now. And the counter density is definitely bigger here. Cool. So many Soviets. And at this point in the war, the Soviets are not anything to spit at. They are pretty good on the front line. And then throughout the rest of the scenario, you have basically chopped up versions of those big scenarios, or smaller scenarios that occurred at some point in these battles. So for example, Fastov counterattack. Much smaller scenario. You got a bunch of tanks to use. You even have some Tigers as the German player and an SS combat group. But as the Soviets, you have Guards and the regular Red Army. Even got some Su-152s that can probably easily destroy those Tigers. What, they've got a heart attack of 26? What are the Tigers' defense? Yep, those guys can pen those Tigers. They can't. The normal T-34s can't. So you can see you've got some nice little small scenarios to play as well. Let's look at some more. Here's a 16 turn scenario. Here we go. This is at the beginning of the game. You're the Soviets with 1 billion troops, and you are attacking the German fortified lines. Although, honestly, these are not the most fortified Germans I've ever seen. They're just in trenches. They do have those mines, but that'll just hurt your troops a little bit until you clear them. I guess the hard part will be fighting throughout Kiev. Anyway, does this remind you of anything? Remind you of another Russian invasion? Anyway. Then you've got... I think I already... Oh, the Fastov diversion. What's the scenario that... Oh, what's his name? That other big... Well, I'm not a big YouTuber, but the big WDS YouTuber. Oh, why am I forgetting his name? He's like someone who inspired me to make these videos in the first place. The Matt. No, not Matt. Okay, give me 1 second. I was so close. It's the Max. Wait, did I just say that wrong again? The Mac. The Mac, yeah. I think he's playing this one? Let's see what that one is. He did his own, what's it called? He did his own version of this style of video where he's overviewing the game of the week. I don't blame him. I will be frank. It is quite an easy type of video to make, and you guys seem to like it. So I'm surprised more WDS YouTubers, although I suppose there aren't very many of us, but I was surprised that no one else had done this before. But anyway, you got the Soviets attacking Germans at this city right here. Interesting. Most of the Germans have extremely high fatigue and are pretty low on men, though. Although, to be fair, the Soviets don't have a ton of men either. And they're not all at tip-top shape. But, man, these Germans are so... Oh, my gosh, these guys are in horrible shape. 200 fatigue, that's a lot. If you don't know this game very well, that's a lot of fatigue. Oh, that's a cool picture. I like that picture a lot. You got a Panther and a Stug. I like those graphics. Anyway, let's take a look at the main map. Here it is. Whew, this is a big map. Not the biggest. No, I think that would be Poland 39. And then after that, I'm pretty sure it's France 40. But this is quite a large map. There we go, now we're zoomed out. Kiev right here. Yeah, you could full on, I wouldn't necessarily condone this, but you could full on make a modern Russia versus Ukraine game with this map. Maybe update it a little bit with all of the updated urbanization everywhere, but it's quite a map. The map makers, I love these maps in these games because they are so detailed and they are so pretty to look at. Oh, I wonder if I think this is the modern day Chernobyl area. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway. Well, guys, I think that's about it. I've about shown you everything that this game has to offer. Look, you've even got a bunch of Fords over here. So, definitely take a look at this game. Buy it if you don't have it already. There's a lot of fun scenarios to play. The Master Campaign, if you're into those, looks very fun. It's a big back and forth between the Germans and the Soviets. It's not impossible for either, but it's not well, maybe it's a little bit easier for the Soviets, but as the Germans, it's not impossible. It might be hard, but it's not impossible. Against the AI, you could probably do it pretty easily. That's one thing about these games I wish was better, was the AI on the big scenarios. Like a game like, I had mentioned this at the beginning of the video, I think, but a game like A War in the East 2, that game has just as many counters, if not more, than this game. And I do understand that the developers, I believe, have more to work with. Coding wise, like these games are based on pretty old code. They're great games, I will always say that, but they're a little bit old. In that game, the AI is really good. It's really good. A lot of people have a hard time beating it as the Germans and even as the Soviets. Another YouTuber I love, the Grey Hunter, he's doing another Soviet very hard campaign after he lost his first one, and it was very entertaining. And that's just how hard the AI is in some of these games. And I think that there's not really a ton of AI in this game. It's mostly scripting. There is AI, there is stuff going on in the background, but it's not very strong. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you next time.